Okay, so when it comes to Upwork, a ton of freelancers have no idea why they can't seem to get work. So today, Jessica and I are going to break down why a lot of people seem to struggle to get traction on Upwork, and we're going to keep it super simple because none of this has to be complicated. We've actually come up with a 10-point system so that you can understand where you need to improve to start winning work. Okay, so Jessica, I know you actually do a lot of hiring on Upwork in addition to being a freelancer. So tell me a little bit about your perspective on this.
Hiring on Upwork is never a black and white decision. When I go about posting a job on Upwork to find a contractor or finding a freelancer to join my team, there are so many factors to consider, and I'm constantly weighing the pros and cons of all the factors. So, not only am I trying to narrow down my list of freelancers that I want to start conversations with, I'm also looking at my company to see like what we need in this time period. So I'm trying to evaluate who's going to be the best fit for my agency where we're at right now.
So you're evaluating all the different elements when it comes to a freelancer. What are the different elements that you're talking about?
I'm taking into account a variety of factors. So I'm looking at their proposal. Is it customized? Their profile photo, their summary. How many jobs have they had? Their top rated status, their total amount of money earned. I'm looking at all of these factors to determine who's going to be the best fit.
Exactly. And that's kind of how we came up with this idea that winning freelance work is really just about how many points you can score with a potential client. It's not about any one single factor, it's about the sum of all the factors that you can control. So basically, our system says that you can score a total of 10 points with a potential client. So, from our experience, there are 5 elements of your freelancing efforts that are worth between 1 and 3 points. All right, so let's just go down the list. Portfolio, that's worth 3 points. Proposal, 2 points. Communication, 2 points. Job history and reviews, 2 points. And your profile photo and video, 1 point. Okay, as someone who has hired people on Upwork, why do you think we set it up this way?
We set it up this way because of risk. Hiring is all about removing as much risk as possible. So when I go on Upwork, I'm spending my business's hard earned money. And so I'm looking for someone who's going to fit into the business. But it's a ton of time and a ton of resources to bring somebody in. So I'm looking to eliminate as much risk as possible.
Right. So when you say removing risk, it's not just about the risk of potentially losing money on a freelancer that might not work out, right? It's also the risk of wasting time and resources on a freelancer that might not have good communication skills or who you might need to ask for a bunch of revisions for, right?
Exactly, because either I'm gonna be training them or one of my team members is gonna be training them, and so again, it comes down to resources and time that we are investing into this freelancer, hoping that they're gonna be a good fit.
Okay, so let's explain why we think each element is worth what we say it is. So we put portfolio at the very top. And the reason for that is at the end of the day, showing me what you can do is always going to be the most powerful form of proving that you have the skills needed. And your portfolio doesn't only show me what you can do, it also says a ton about you as a freelancer. I mean, obviously, it shows off your abilities and your skill set, but it also shows me your taste. It shows me how professional you are. It shows me how detail oriented you are in the way that you are showcasing your portfolio. It shows me so much, and that's why we think it's worth a whopping 3 points out of 10. Okay, and so what about the proposal?
So we deemed the proposal to have 2 points. So when somebody sends me a proposal and I can tell that they have customized the proposal based on what I'm looking for, it's short, it's to the point, they have the necessary links, I know that this freelancer really is taking this job seriously, and then I'm going to start a conversation versus somebody who just copy and pasted a template, includes way too much text, not enough links, not enough examples. I'm immediately going to dismiss them.
And I know a lot of people might think only 2 points for the proposal. Shouldn't it be worth 5 points at least? And we don't think so because there are so many different other things that we're looking at when we're looking to hire the right person. You could spend hours writing the most perfect proposal, but if your other elements of your profile aren't dialed in, you have no chance of winning that work.
That's why you have to weigh all of these different factors. So, for example, someone sends you a proposal, the proposal's kind of mid, kind of gets the job done, but then you see they have 100K earned, they have top rated status, they have a ton of amazing 5-star reviews. Then it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to consider this person based on all of these other factors.
Yeah, and I can vouch for that personally. I know that once I started getting into the top rated plus and the expert vetted areas of Upwork, I was able to be a little lazier on my proposals and I would still get a pretty good response rate. So, again, the point we're trying to make is it's not about maximizing one element or two elements or three elements. You need to maximize all five of these elements to give yourself the best chance of winning work. Okay, so next up is communication, and that's worth 2 points. And you might say, well, communication happens after they look at your proposal and decide that they want to have a conversation with you. That's when your communication with them really starts. So, communication is going to happen over text initially on the Upwork messaging, and then it's going to move to a video call before you actually get to close that client. So, you need to be good at communicating over text professionally, and then you need to be good at communicating over video professionally. And obviously, your ability to be a good communicator tells the client that this is going to be a smooth, easy process. They're not going to have to handhold you. You're going to be able to understand and listen to their instructions. And your communication skills are going to tell them how easy it is for them to be able to work with you.
One of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to communication on Upwork is when people send like multiple messages and are not concise. It's the worst when someone sends you 3 messages in a row that could have easily been just one concise, simple message.
Yeah, and I think a lot of freelancers, they fail to understand just how busy a lot of these clients are that they're talking with. So you need to keep things concise. You need to respect your client's time, and that definitely follows through with your communication.
Yeah, like I've reviewed a couple proposals and someone will send a novel of like all like 3 paragraphs of why they're super qualified for this. And I'm like, no, just give me 1 paragraph and give me some reference examples. And that's all I need. Like being just respectful of the client's time.
Yeah, and your default should be show them, don't tell them. Showing is going to be what you want to default to. No amount of text, no amount of paragraphs is going to convince them that you're the right fit.
Especially in the world of ChatGPT and Jasper AI, like, for all we know, they wrote that with an AI tool, so that's so important to be able to showcase results rather than just typing a bunch of text. So I don't know if a lot of freelancers know this, but from the client side, when they are sifting through freelancers, they can only see 1 to 2 sentences of the proposal in the list. So that makes it that much more important to customize it and then also just grab their attention in the first couple lines. I had somebody apply to a video editor position, and in the first sentence, they said, "Hey, Jessica, I've recorded this personalized Loom video just for you." And they included a link to the Loom video. I immediately clicked on his profile first and I watched the Loom video. So it's all about customizing and then standing out among the competition.
Yeah, and so when we talk about being concise, what we mean by that is you are hitting people with the most valuable things that you can right off the gate. You're not waiting to save your links or the most relevant things that you can send them for the middle of your proposal. You're sending them the most valuable things you can send them as soon as you can send it. Okay, so job history, that's worth 2 points. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so gone are the days of having a long list of 5-star reviews. Yes, it's important. I want to see paragraphs. I want to see like long-winded, comprehensive testimonials from your past clients. Like yours, Tyler. Your clients clearly, you've done an amazing job. You've surprised them and delighted them. So they will write paragraphs singing your praises. So I am more drawn to somebody like that where I'm like, "Oh wow, they really went above and beyond for their clients," versus somebody who just has a string of 5-star reviews with either no feedback given or private earnings.
Right. And so one thing that you got to keep in mind is that Having really good reviews on your profile, that means that you're a freelancer that makes your clients really happy. And the only way to make them really happy is by over delivering, right? So if you look at a freelancer's job history and their reviews are just kind of meh, generic, basic, and you're not seeing, the big glowing reviews, that means they don't probably go above and beyond.
When you deliver a five-star service to the client, you go above and beyond, you surprise and delight. The client will feel obligated in a sense to write you a glowing review because you've delivered so much value that they feel like this is the least that I could do is write them a glowing review.
Right. And so would you say that even having less reviews, but more reviews that are more filled out would be more valuable than just a bunch of no feedback givens?
100%. And then that's also where the other factors come into play. So let's say they only have two jobs, but the clients clearly wrote them paragraphs, went above and beyond for this freelancer. I then look at the other factors. I'm like, okay, they only have two jobs. That's okay. Let me look at their profile image. Let me look at their total amount earned. Let me look at their portfolio. And then we'll see if I can consider them later on. So it's where those other factors come into play.
So all those factors add up to 9, and we have one more factor, which is the profile photo slash profile video. So we all make snap judgments about who a person is just based on a quick visual image, right? So your profile photo is going to tell me what kind of person you are, how friendly are you, how professional are you, and all these other things just from one image alone. And then if you have a profile video, that's even better because now I'm actually seeing you talk on camera. I'm seeing how you carry yourself. I'm seeing how professional you are, how much effort you go into dialing in the quality of the way that you represent yourself on video. So when you're competing with other freelancers that are really close neck and neck with you on score, your profile photo and video really can be that determining factor that can get you that extra point in the client's eyes that could be what wins you the work.
So I'm constantly scrolling through freelancers on Upwork and I am blown away at how many freelancers just have a mean mug. They are not smiling, they're just stone faced. And I don't know what that's all about, but I immediately don't want to work with them. I want to work with someone who's friendly, who's positive, who's warm and welcoming. I don't want to work with someone who looks like they'd be terrible to work with.
Yeah, and just the idea of not putting any effort into the only image that shows someone who you are is kind of a strange thing to do. And I think if you're a freelancer, you need to invest in your profile photo. You need to invest in your profile video because, again, snap judgments. People are going to make so many judgments about who you are depending on how good your profile photo is and how good your profile video is that there's no reason not to get that extra point and do a good job on these things. And again, if you really think about if you're neck and neck with another freelancer for a job, let's say they don't have a profile video, but you do. That could be all you needed to do to win that job. That could be the factor that won you the job. I know that's what happened to you and me, right? We jumped on the profile video feature like right when it came out. We made sure to put something nice in there with us on camera speaking with high quality video, high quality audio, and you had all kinds of clients telling you that's why I hired you.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that was a really big differentiator for me is I actually had a professional video done. And so before they even jump on a call with me, they can get to know my style, a little bit about my personality, and I think it really helped me land clients.
Yeah, and it helps you go from, especially with the video, it helps you go from being a stranger on the internet to someone that they might consider just being a friend or someone that they would hire, right? You don't want to be a stranger. You want to be someone that they feel like they know. And having a good video is the best way to do that. Okay, so those are the 5 elements that are going to determine how many points you score with a potential client. Now, that is a general guide that we've put together. That's kind of from our experience, what we think are the hierarchy of the points should go. But depending on the client, they might put more points into your communication over your portfolio, or maybe they put more points into your job history. You never really know what values your potential clients have. So the only course of action is to try to elevate and score as many points in each of these elements as you can.
There's a lot of freelancers out there that are probably asking themselves, well, I don't have any jobs. I don't have any job history. What do I do? In that case, you want to overcompensate in the other areas to get in front of potential clients.
Yeah, so if you have a 0 in the job history category, your only course of action is to try to score as many points in those other categories as you can. And I promise you, if you maximize those other areas, you can still score an 8 out of 10, which is a really high score. But basically, the point that we're trying to make with this scoring system is you cannot focus on one element of your profile. It's never going to be your portfolio that wins you the work, right? It's never going to be your profile photo. It's going to be a combination of all of these elements. And the freelancers that succeed on Upwork are the ones that put effort and time into all the elements of their profile, not just one or two elements.
So, being on Upwork can be competitive, right? There's a lot of competition depending on what industry you're in. And so, these points actually matter when it comes to landing a job. So, let's say, freelancer A, freelancer B, they are neck and neck. But if freelancer A has a little better communication, maybe they're a little faster at responding to messages, they're going to have the upper hand and they're going to land that job.
Yeah, and from your experience, you're not seeing a whole lot of 10 out of 10. I mean, you say it's competitive, right? But you're not seeing a whole lot of 10 out of 10 freelancers.
Most freelancers on Upwork are not 10 out of 10. So there's hope and there is room in the
Yeah, I
market,
mean, they're not even close to 10 out of 10,
not
right?
even close to 10 out of 10. So if you make sure all of those points are dialed in, you can definitely be chosen for a job.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually very doable for a lot of people to rise from the bottom 50% to the top 10, 5% level of Upwork if you take the time to really make sure all of these elements are good. I mean, just the profile photo and the profile video alone, not a lot of freelancers have a really good video. And just by doing that, you can really elevate yourself. Okay, so we have this 10-point system. What do you think freelancers should do to start implementing this scoring system?
So it's all about taking action. So you're going to go on your Upwork profile and you're going to rate yourself and basically self diagnose, self assess where you stand and come up with a number to see where you're at. It can be intimidating and maybe a little challenging to just self diagnose, but do your best. You can also have a friend or a family member take a look too, give you an objective opinion, and that will help you have a nice pulse check on where you're at and then where you can improve.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to be really honest with yourself. You can't just give yourself a 3 out of 3 on your portfolio because a 3 out of 3 portfolio is a portfolio that is in the top 10% of all portfolios. So really be honest with yourself in the scoring because if you don't be honest with yourself, you're not gonna figure out where you need to improve. And that's the most important thing.
And another way you can get a good pulse check on where you're at is do a little competitor research. See what your competition is doing. That can be very eye opening to see, okay, this person has an amazing portfolio. Maybe I can step mine up in some way.
So that's our 10-point scoring system. Let us know if it makes sense to you. Let us know if you have any questions about it. And hopefully, this can be a tool for you to understand where your profile's at and how you can elevate it and start winning more work. All right, go ahead and leave a comment below and subscribe if you want to see more. And we'll see you in the next one.